All right. Let's see here. 46 minutes. I've got 46 minutes. I'll make another video. I'll make another video on video games. Now, if we're making a strategy video game, right? I mean, we have to really ask ourselves what makes a tribe strong. Like, how does a tribe thrive? Um, um, and for me, I think you know a tribe by knowing their laws. You don't know a tribe by listening to the rhetoric they have of themselves. No, don't listen to the rhetoric they have of themselves. Look at their laws. What are their laws doing? Um, Here's a little anecdote.
Take no harm, take no shit.
Boom, there you go. Here's a little anecdote. There was this Etruscan, and this Etruscan was this hardworking Etruscan man. But he got cheated by his own Etruscan people. He got fucking cheated.
No way.
And he was a merchant, and so he after getting cheated, he fled to the Gauls. He fled to the Gauls. He taught them how to make wine. Apparently, so the story goes. And they loved wine so much, these Celts, that he told them, "Hey, Etrusca has tons of fucking wine. So head down there, and they're also weak." Right? So, I mean, what do we see here? We see this man who's being abused by his tribe, and he ends up betraying it. But they betrayed him first in his mind, right? And so the story goes, the Gauls come into Italy in search of wine, right? um, but like, what makes a tribe strong? And that's why I talk like about the early Roman Republic. Like, because there's democracy, there's republic, and there's monarchy, right? According to the so-called ways. But every republic before the United States was actually aristocratic, right? And the Roman Republic was no different. There was this aristocratic element to it. But within this early Roman Republic, you had aristocrats competing against each other for honors. And you could be you could be in the Roman world and not an aristocrat, but still gain honor from your life and your story. um, like one of my most favorite examples would be Genghis Khan, right? Genghis Khan fought a Mongolian civil war, and basically the Mongolian civil war was between merit and aristocracy, and Genghis Khan was on the side of merit, right? Genghis Khan sent ambassadors into I forgot the name of it. It's been erased from history by Genghis Khan. But he sent ambassadors to this one place, and they ended up just killing the ambassadors because they thought they were, they thought they were above good law. So there was this corruption within their society where they just killed innocent men, and they tried to justify it. And so what does Genghis Khan do? He's like, hey, these motherfuckers don't believe in the law, so we're gonna come down on them hard. Right? Because they don't fucking believe in the law. Like, I was reading a story about the fall of Rome, and it was talking about all these German invaders, and these German invaders, they were all riding horses. right? It was probably two, three, 400s, um, and they were all riding horses. Meanwhile, the Romans were stuck within their cities. They were trapped within their cities because why? Well, like let's look at the law. In the Roman world, the law is that only the elites get to have horses, right? But in the German world, you have all of these men who are now allowed to have horses, even though they might be lowly in the chain or the ladder or whatever. Um, but it's a fait accompli. What's going to happen, right? Like obviously, the people with more horses are going to win the fight, and so Roman laws are shooting themselves in the foot. Um, there's this story. See what I'm getting at here is the stronger the laws, I think the better the laws, the more prosperous the people. Um, and I think you see this in the early Roman Republic. I think you also see this in the Judges period, right after Moses. Um, this was like Moses was a man of merit, right? He wanted the top Jew to be at top, you know, and that's not necessarily the son of some rich asshole. Could be anybody. Could be the son of some rich asshole, but it's all about merit. Um, and I think you definitely also see this in Genghis Khan. Like this, like people lie about Genghis Khan, I think, because they call him this evil conqueror, but he was fighting for just law. He was fighting for merit above legal privilege, right? And again, if we're getting into video games, it's like um, just law works, but here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Here's the kicker that I want to talk about. And if we want to go to this kicker, then let us go to Herodotus. Herodotus is telling the story about the Persian conquests, and they had conquered Babylon, but Babylon rebels, and so this king of Persia has to go down to Babylon to subdue it again. And what happens is one of his lieutenants ends up beating the shit out of himself. And the king is like all shocked and horrified, like, oh, what are you doing? Why'd you beat the shit out of yourself? And he said, hey, I'm going to go into this Babylonian town and I'm going to tell them that you beat the shit out of me. And then I'm going to start to win military victories with your help. Like, any forces that I lead will win. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to gain favor in this Babylonian town. And then when I have enough power, I'll open up a gate to you. And that's what happened, right? So what I'm talking about here is weaponized betrayal. And this is the same thing that I think Moses talks about in the story of Abraham, and also in his own story. I think Moses was a man that was totally against weaponized betrayal, because like you could have a society with good laws, but weaponized betrayal can bring that society down. And that's what happened with this Babylon story, right? But that's what was also happening with Abraham, because Abraham he was traveling around Mesopotamia. He was this traveling merchant, and he was traveling Habaru, and he would go into these towns and he would tell his wife to fuck other men, right? And he went into these towns pretending to be weak. He's like, oh shucks, guys, you can fuck my woman. I'm stupid. La 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 la. So Abraham pretended to be weak, but what did he tell his wife? He's like, hey, there's some men out here in Mesopotamia. There's some men out here who smile in your face, call you friend, but literally stab you in the back and take all your shit. Right? Weaponized betrayal is what Abraham was fighting against. This is a trend of Eastern religions coming out of Canaan and Phoenicia. But, I mean, personally, that's why I think God chose the Jews, because God's against this weaponized betrayal of the Phoenicians, right? Because who are the Phoenicians? They're a bunch of aristocratic, taskmaster, slave master assholes, right? Like, to them, it's not about bravery, it's about cutthroat, lies, betrayal. Like, I've already told the story of Hannibal and I forgot his name. Hanno, I think his name was. Hanno was against Hannibal. But Hanno was awesome because he displayed this classic Phoenician tactic, right? And he's like, hey, you know what? You, Hannibal, you're trying to fight these Romans with might. You're trying to fight, but there's a better way to beat these Romans, according to Hanno, right? And it was Hanno who almost brought the Romans down, right? Because when you read the histories, what do you see? You see, right after this time, you see this conspiracy develop in Rome, where you have this secret society of people who are committing crimes, murder. They're committing sexual crimes, rape, and they're doing a lot of bad stuff. And entrance into the club is to do something bad. Like, you have to kill someone to get into the club. So there's this conspiracy that developed, and this conspiracy was ultimately defeated because this slave came to one of the Roman consuls and said, hey, my masters, they're in this society that's killing people and doing all this nasty stuff, and it's prevalent all around Italy, and it's a danger. And so he went and he investigated, and he found out this to be true, and it was defeated. But this was Hanno's attack against Rome. Hanno's attack against Rome is that he's going to send friends into Italy, quote unquote, and these friends are going to look for some of the worst men in Italy, some of the worst Romans and some of the worst Roman allies. They're gonna start up this secret society, right? Which is exactly what Hanno did. He started up this secret society in Rome. And this was Hanno the Great's attack against Rome, which was ultimately thwarted. But what I'm saying here is that, so my theory is that good law makes for a strong people. Good law makes for a strong people. And I think that's what you see throughout time, throughout history. But there's always this wild card, and it's a wild card of betrayal that can easily happen within a tribe. That no matter how strong you are, betrayal can happen, and the strong can get their throats cut. Um, so it like, how do you program this into a video game? That's what I'm saying, right? Because like in the video game that I want to make, I think laws are gonna be important. I don't know how to program the laws in though. Um, like ultimately, you like in this game you're gonna have democracy, republics, or monarchies, right? And you can choose which one you want to have. You're gonna be a generational family, so you can switch between like in one generation you can support democracy, in the next generation you can support kings. So um, like just because a tribe falls doesn't mean you're gonna fall necessarily. So I don't know. It sounds fun, but because again you can switch tribes in this game, so you can be like, fuck you, you guys. Just like that one Etruscan guy, he switched tribes, and he ultimately brought down Etruria. Etruria was brought down by the Gauls, not by the Romans. The Romans did their part, but it was the Gauls invading from the north that really started kicking their ass, I think. Um, but so in this game, like you can choose to have a democracy, right? Um, but each democracy can have its own laws, right? So just because you have a democracy doesn't mean every democracy is going to be the same, right? It's all about the laws. Um, like, okay, in the beginning of the game, you can choose monarchy, republics, or democracies. So, and in the beginning of this game, you're going to have this idyllic world, right? It's this idyllic world where people are just living in um, bliss, and there's no conflict or no pain. But you go around and you and others, you guys starting up governments, right? So then you get to choose what type of government you want to start up. Um, Now, in order to start up a government, you have to start getting people to paying taxes, which in this idyllic time, people aren't paying taxes, right? And but so you have to get them to start paying taxes. But okay, so in order to set up your government, though, you need to basically set up an economic reality, which is what law is many times about. So you're going to set up an economic reality, and in other words, you're not the only player in the game, right? There's other players in your own tribe that you're going to have to make deals with. So what sort of deals are you going to make with them? Are you going to become the king and they're going to become your servants? Well, you got to make sure that that they've got economic security, right? But their economic security could also mean rebellion against you too. So So, or you could set up, you know, a republic, democracy. Um, but you know, I think the laws are going to be important because even though you set up a kingdom, if you switch the laws around, then that kingdom's going to be different, right? And I mean, the real discussion here is what laws lead to a thriving tribe, and what laws lead to this Etruscan nightmare that I was talking about, where people are like, "Hey, fuck this! I don't care about this tribe anymore." Like, I'm living here in the United States, and you know, I think I've got a lot of Native American blood in me, and so I'm a mutt. I'm a mixed, and I can claim Native American ancestry. Um, but what I think is that one of the biggest enemies to the Native Americans are their own leaders. I do. I think one of the biggest enemies to the Native Americans are their own leaders. There was this one leader in early American history who was like, hey, fuck the white man and fuck all the white man's ways. And the United States government, like, sponsored this guy and loved this guy, right? Because it's all about educational tyranny, right? And I think that's going to be a large part of the laws because when you look at like craftsmen guilds are all about persecuting the craft in order to increase the profits. Um, so a lot of craftsmen's guilds are tyrannical institutions, not institutions that promote the craft, but promote corruption within man. Um, Shit, what am I talking about? So, um, laws. Yeah, no. I'm in my own head. What I'm trying to do right now is trying to figure out how to program this game, right? Like in all the videos I've made so far, like I've gone a long way, I think. And I think it's pretty cool. Like I think my approach is more scientific. So let's say that you're in a tribe, and you're one of these leaders in a tribe, and this tribe ends up conquering a bunch of territory, right? But some of the territory that you conquered now gets conquered by someone else, right? So what happens is that linguistically, what happens is that these people who just got conquered are now under a different political regime. Now they're gonna hold on to their culture and their language as much as they can. But their language is going to now diverge from the language of those who have not been conquered and occupied, right? And so there's this gonna like there's going to be a new language that is created within this game because of the circumstances of everything, right? Now you can try to reconquer this area and assimilate it, but there's going to now be resistance to assimilation, even though in the past, like 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, you guys used to be the same. But you reconquer this area, and you can try to assimilate it, and successfully too. But there's still going to be resistance to that assimilation. Um, so I'm trying to make a scientific video game. Um, but I think law is going to be a huge part of it. It's like what really makes a tribe strong, and um, Again, that's why I praise the early Roman Republic and also the period of the Judges, because Moses said that in the Judges book says that in the period of the Judges, each Jew would do what was right according to his own heart, right? And that's a proper interpretation of the law, according to me. But this was also a meritocracy, right? In the period of the Judges, like the top Jew was the most badass Jew. Not the son of some rich asshole, and maybe the son of some rich asshole is the top Jew, but it's not because he's the son of some rich asshole, but it's because of his own person. And so it's all about merit. And I think these societies thrived because of it. Like for me, you look at not only the Jews, but you look at the Irish, right? The Irish have been leaderless for hundreds of years. Like, no political leaders. Yet when we write our fucking stupid ass motherfucking history books, what do we write? We write all about the leaders. Like, if we want to write about a tribe, what do? We write about the leaders as if they matter. Yet, who are the Jews and who are the Irish? They've had no political leaders, and yet they still thrive. And so... And so that's another interesting thing we can put into this video game, right? Just because you conquer an area doesn't mean you conquer the people. Anyways, going back to the Native Americans, there was this other Native American, and he fought in the Mississippi area, west of the Appalachian Mountains, and in the northern parts, near Detroit and the lakes, I think. But I forgot his name. There's a car named after him, definitely. But or a vehicle. But he was more badass as a Native American leader, right? Because what did he say? He first of all said, "Hey, all of us Native Americans, we need to unite instead of fight and kill each other and be a bunch of assholes." But what did he also say? Unlike the guy that the American leaders praised, right, who was promoting sacred ignorance, right? This man was saying, hey, if us Native Americans need to thrive, then we need to learn the white man's mathematics. We need to learn the white man's science and chemistry. Right? Like he truly wanted to strengthen the Native American peoples. And for me right now, it's like, I look at the United States, living in the United States, and I see a lot of, like in the United States, we're all mixed. Like, we truly are mutt population. But there's a lot of people right now who have just a little bit of Native American ancestry. And they are so ashamed of the United States that they would rather identify as Native American than they would as American, right? And I know that to be true. No one's ever talked about that before. I see it, and many other people, I think, see it. But there's this huge opportunity for Native Americans to grow peacefully. Like, who the fuck do you think this great spirit in the sky is? Like some hateful, murderous bitch? No. The great spirit in the sky, he loves he loves the heart. He loves the fucking heart. And there's many Americans who would peacefully join with the Native Americans rather than the Americans. Because they're so ashamed of their people. And so there's this great opportunity out there, right? But again, we're talking about like what really strengthens a tribe. And so this is a big discussion. And I don't know, I think I just scratched the surface of it. But definitely in this video game, laws are important, right? Because like we go back to this one Native American leader, and what were his laws? His laws were fuck the white man and fuck the white man's mathematics and fuck the white man's chemistry and his physics, right? That's what this guy did, and that's what they practiced. And since they practiced it, they got hurt because of bad shamans. Bad shamans. You know, and you have this other guy who the United States was scared shitless of, this Native American badass leader. Again, I forgot his name, but they were scared shitless of him because he was truly trying to succeed. But the Americans wanted to divide and conquer. But he would have strengthened the Native American people if he had not been betrayed by the organized duplicity of the United States. But yeah, no, like, to me, again, this is all about video games, and it's like this is a part of the video game I have not completely formulated yet, and that's what I'm trying to formulate right now. It's like the laws. What laws do we put? Because
The law of the land.
on the flip side, evil laws can have their time in the sun, right? But if you go back to this Etruscan guy who betrayed his tribe, he went to the Gauls and he betrayed his tribe. You know, eventually bad laws fail. You know? And to me, like, personally, like, I would like to get into merchant societies. If you look at merchant societies, they have their time in the sun, but when they fall, they disappear. Meanwhile, you have the Roman society, which isn't mercantile, but it was during the dark times. But they're land conquerors, and conquering land is less profitable. It is. So in this video game, yeah, no, conquering land would definitely be less profitable because you have more problems that need to be dealt with, and that will be taking away from your profits. So, but that's another, like, to me, one of the fascinating things about this video game is that this is gonna be a turn-based strategy game, and for each turn, you're gonna be able to go into a city and talk to the people, and basically, this game is gonna, a large part of this game, I think, is gonna be about population control. Right, population control. Yeah. And so, that sounds really fun. That sounds like a fun game. Because the population, because again, we would have to talk to the sociologists, like how is the population going to react to this law or that law? She's out there digging a hole.
That's right.
But
Be our main digger.
Oh, good girl. All right. Yeah. No. So, like, I don't know. Like, I want to make this game. Definitely. But we need to figure it out, right? Because now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of it all. So, like, in this game, like when you first start this game, you're gonna start your government. But in order to start your government, you're gonna have to start an industry, right? And you and your family are gonna now be in charge of that industry. Now you want that industry to prosper. And a lot of times throughout history, persecuting technology means making the industry prosper, right? Because transformation means more production costs. Um, and so yeah, you're gonna have to start this industry, and you're gonna have to make some sort of deals. Like if you're in a kingship, then you just own it. Depending on the kingship, because each kingship's gonna have different laws, right? So do you turn them into serfs, or do you turn them into renters, right? And it's their land and their produce, but they rent and pay a tax. Like what do you do? But like it's all about it, you're gonna want to increase your not only you're gonna want to not only increase your money, but you're gonna want to increase your influence, right? And sometimes influence might be more powerful than money, right? And so I think that's why I think this is gonna be an interesting game. More scientific though. Like that's what I'm going for in this game. Like let's talk to the sociologists. Let's talk to the law people. Um, and this game has a lot more to go before it's done.